Hey guys, welcome to the channel. So this is my 2017 BMW 2 Series convertible. So it's a 218i, it's a 3-cylinder 1.5, 136 horsepower on paper, I believe 163 pounds-foot of torque. So it was registered December, picked it up in February, quite a good discount actually from Cooper BMW Durham. So what I basically did was looking around actually here in Cardiff to try and buy one of them new. Prices pretty high. I went on a couple of websites and talked to the dealers, like I went on Carwell, got a couple of discounts. These worked out quite expensive. In the end this car was actually listed for £35,000. I think it was ordered as a dealer demo in December 2017. There's a 67 plate. Found it on Auto Trader, went up to Cooper Durham myself and ended up buying it for £22,000. So bear in mind I had about 10 miles on it when I picked it up. I think it was 11 to be exact. So overall, quite a nice car, and let's get into it. So like I was saying, it's the B38 BMW motor, so it's a 3-cylinder inline, turbo 1.5, stock 136 horsepower, 163 pounds-foot torque. Now this one is tuned, it's got a Racechip GTS in it. That cost £350 that I've added on to myself. It should now be making 176 horsepower, 211 pounds-foot torque. So it's basically on par with a 220i. I guess upside that I always say is this car's a manual. Which I actually didn't mention earlier. You can't actually get the facelift 2 Series in a manual in a 220 or a 230, so arguably this is like a 220i manual as I like to see it myself. Then I would say that. Other than that, apart from the changes I've made, which is obviously the GTS Racechip, if we shut the bonnet down here, got gloss black kidney grills which are fitted myself as well. So those are like an M2 style gloss black kidney grills, £45 off eBay. They're actually really high quality. And they actually look really smart. I think they make a car look a whole lot nicer. I think really, to be honest, with a gloss shadowline package and M Sport Plus, they should be standard, but they're not. But not an expensive or a difficult upgrade to do at all. Other than that, I am planning to, at some point, if you follow me around the back, planning to do the exhaust. Don't want anything too crazy. I understand it's not an M240. I'm only 18. I can't exactly afford to be insured in an M240 anyway, hence this is a 218. But I do want to do dual tips off an M240. I'm not going to put any badges in the back or anything. I'm not trying to pretend it's an M240, but I would like it to look a little bit more symmetrical at the back. Make it hopefully sound a little bit better as well. The 3 cylinders do actually have quite a nice noise at the higher revs. I want to kind of extract that a little bit. Nothing too crazy. And then other than that as well, hoping possibly for a small gloss black lip spoiler to go around on the back, and eventually as well spacers all the way around. Okay, yeah, now as well, in terms of the acceleration of the car, which is obviously going to be what most people will be wondering about, I reckon a lot of people will say, you know, for however much it was listed as 35,000 as the list price, would you not just buy an M240? And obviously, if I had all the choice in the world, of course I would. You know, I'd love that car, I'm sure I would. My mate's got an M140, and that engine is phenomenal. But the issue is I'm 18 and insurance would just be horrendous. So 218 it was. In terms of its acceleration, it's honestly not as slow as I expected it to be, especially for a heavier convertible. 0 to 60 official about 9 seconds, top speed about 130 apparently, although I would have tested that out. But realistically it does feel faster than that, even stock. Now with the GTS Racechip on it as well, we've got sort of 220i sort of levels of power now, so the 0 to 60 is actually in the high 7s now, which is actually not too bad. Again, it's no performance car, but I definitely wouldn't call it slow. Apart from that, of course, the brakes is quite a big touching point, especially since this car's optioned with the larger brakes from the M140 and M240. So those are the Estoril blue calipers, like I mentioned, and then the bigger rotors and beefier brake pads as well. And honestly, they do stop magnificently well. Most of the time, even when I'm driving absolutely hard, I thought I was fully on the brakes, and then I realised I've still got, like, you know, a third of the pedal to go. So genuinely really impressed. Don't know how long those pads will last me because of the way I've been driving, but honestly, no complaints at all. And of course as well, the steering to touch on too. Now it's a bit of a mixed bag. You put it in eco mode, it's very light, it's quite easy for city driving but barely any feedback, which I guess again for city driving is fine. Now sport mode, arguably slightly artificially heavy, but I understand that they have to do that nowadays. You know, it's not going to be as good as you know, and the sort of older BMWs would have felt, but it does, you know, mimic a sort of sporty feel. And like I say, I like the fact that it's got a heavy clutch. I like the fact that it's got a heavy gearbox. It's got quite heavy steering when you put it in sport, and I do quite like that. And you can actually take it into comfort steering while still having the sports throttle response, which I've tried out a little bit, but then I feel like comfort steering is a bit too light, sporty steering is a bit too heavy. But overall, sport steering is slightly better, and it's still quite nice. It lacks a bit of feel, but other than that, it does still feel good. And you still get a good idea of what the wheels are doing anyway. So just a quick rundown through the spec. So car is spec'd in an M Sport package. It's Melbourne Red Metallic. There's an M Sport Plus package on the car as well. If you follow me around, I'll show you. So what you get there, you get the alternative style M alloy wheels. So those are diamond cut with the gloss black. You get the bigger brakes from the M140, M240, both front and back. Calipers painted in Estoril blue. Got a couple of lovely little M badges. Now coming around as well, it's got the high gloss shadow black trim, so all the way around. Apart from obviously quite nicely contrasting with the Melbourne Red, you've got gloss black running all the way around. That actually follows through into the cabin where it's spec'd with piano black trim inside. Black Dakota leather, that's an optional extra as well that was on the car. If you follow me inside, I'll show you. You've got Harman Kardon, that was spec'd on the car as well as the convertible comfort package. So as part of that, you get the heated seats, heated steering wheel, and the wind deflector as well, which if I show you, pops up like that and folds in half as well if you need it to, so you can carry rear passengers. Other than that, basically everything that's on the car. Yeah, and if you drive a sensibly, you will get your 45 miles per gallon, say on the motorway, even though it's claimed at like 55. But in town I have been getting like, you know, 18s when I've been pushing the car. It's really not as amazing as you'd think maybe for a 3-cylinder. But otherwise, genuinely, everything else about the car, you know, we shouldn't even be talking about fuel economy. It's not what it's for. Really happy, and I think the only thing left to do really is just take it for a drive. So like I say, the car is actually quite comfortable. It's obviously not a 7 Series, you know, and it's not going to be brilliant. Obviously, a 7 Series you don't really like, you know, mess about in like this. So you get the idea. Obviously, I'm a very sensible individual, so you know, not that I would do that, but you can if you want to in this car. I mean, traction then was just half off, which is actually quite nice. What this car does is in Sport Plus you have traction half off. It's quite good. It kind of nannies you a little bit, so it kind of makes you look like a hero when you're not. You can turn traction fully off, which is also cool. But again, that's only really for certain uses. But traction half off I do drive with majority of the time. It is definitely a welcome feature. Otherwise, all the other modes have traction just fully on. So sport, comfort and eco. Like I was saying about the comfort, seats quite comfortable. Actually, I'd say very comfortable. The one upside they do have is because they're heated, they're actually, the backrest is heated as well, not just your bum. Now, heating your back might not seem like that much of a deal all the time, but especially after a long drive. You know, I've had times driving, say, to Essex from here in Cardiff. You know, sort of 4-hour drive on a good day. Really, sometimes it's a 6, sometimes even 8-hour drive. Your back will start hurting after that. So these seats aren't, you know, the best doing in the world, but they are pretty good. But the upside is, you turn over the heated seats, it relaxes your back muscles because of course your back is heated, and it's that makes such a difference, honestly. So that's one of the best things about it. Heated steering wheel, honestly, it came in the convertible comfort package, great. Otherwise, you could really pass up on it. Like, it's really not a big deal. You know, have it if you want it, but there's no point spending 140 quid or whatever it is on them if you're buying it separately. Wind deflector is another part of that convertible comfort package, actually. Massive difference. That's fitted on the back of the car now, actually, if you can have a look. So obviously it's up at the moment. Lower speeds is not a huge difference, but on you know, higher speeds especially, it's night and day. Really makes this car feel a little bit like it's a spider, because obviously everything is built up around you. You just got like a massive sunroof, I guess, in a way. Which actually brings me on to the other thing. I never thought I would buy a convertible, but here I am with one. The idea was actually initially I quite liked the 2 Series Coupe. So I went down to the dealership, test drove a 218i. They only had an auto. I'm not the biggest fan of autos, especially autos in slower cars. I feel like in a slower car you need you know, a manual for that involvement. But anyway, test drove the auto. The auto was smooth. It was a good gearbox, but I just felt a little bit uninvolved. But anyway, otherwise I enjoyed the coupe. That wasn't the issue. So obviously I knew, you know, I wanted to buy this car. And obviously, you know. Obviously, like I say, I enjoyed the coupe, but I ended up buying the convertible because the offer basically was insane. The offers going were, like I was saying earlier, you know, it was, what, £17,000 in theory, not 17, sorry, 13,000 off list price in theory. Obviously, it works out a bit differently. There's a bit of interest to pay. The interest is standard though, so basically, I ended up getting used car finance. I get, well, a new car finance, they want used car, or they classed it as used car. Like I said, it had 11 miles on it, so, you know, that's a bit rich, but it honestly ended up being an amazing deal. So I said, okay, you know what, the convertible, I still kind of like it, I'll go for it. And I genuinely don't regret it. Like right now, if I had a choice between two, even an equally spec'd coupe, because obviously this car's ridiculously spec'd, I wouldn't personally go for, I just wouldn't go for the coupe nowadays. I think it's just I'm used to the convertible. Like I say, normally the coupe is better. I understand it's a bit stiffer, it's lighter. I don't notice it when I push this car, to be honest with you. And I'm quite glad, and I think it looks phenomenal with the roof down. So yeah, obviously, like I say, very pleased with my choice, and I'll see you in the next video, guys.